There we go.
All right. Yeah, there we are. Hey, good evening.
Good evening.
Nice. Okay, I am going to introduce you guys to everybody. This is Mark and Karina Young. They are church planners to Mendoza, Argentina. We, as the Houston Vineyard, are new into a partnership that is specifically oriented towards helping the advancement of the kingdom of God through church planting in Argentina. And that's how I met you guys, when I was down on a trip to see what was going on. And so we met last year, and I thought you were pretty cool. So we decided to do this. So, hey, guys, why don't you tell me a little bit of who you are, how you got to Mendoza to plant churches, and then we'll get into COVID conversations after that.
Okay. Well, I'm Mark, and this is my wife, Karina. And Josh already said that, but it turns out that about 3 years ago now, we weren't planning on being church planners or pastors or anything like that. We were just lay leaders with our lives. But the Lord very suddenly just called us and said, we need to go to Mendoza, Argentina to plant a church. So after fighting it for several months, we finally realized that it was the Lord and there was no turning back. So we sold everything and, left our kids behind too, because they're, grown up, so they didn't want to come. And we moved to Argentina about 2 years ago. And we started, a year and a half ago, we started a church here in the house. And we just been gathering people, connecting, people just we meet through others or just through neighbors and just trying to spread the word of Jesus.
And but going to Argentina for you guys is not like, it's not a brand new experience. You guys are essentially going home, right?
Right, because Karina, she is from Argentina. I'm doing all the talking here. She was born and raised in Argentina, but she lived for 30-something years in the U.S. And I also lived here when I was a little kid. And so I had, we knew the culture, we knew what was going on here. And another connection is that my brother Steve Young, who some of you might know, actually goes to you guys' church up there. And he also grew up in Argentina. So that's basically a huge connection right there.
Yeah, and what I love when we were down there is you guys are actually reaching a part of the population, which I think is probably one of the more difficult parts of any population to reach for Jesus, which is really the musicians. And so you're reaching to this to a people that aren't traditionally drawn into the life of a church, but you're doing that relationally. You're doing that through the music, through playing together, and through just being there. And so it's a really beautiful community that's beginning to develop there. And so, yeah, it's exciting stuff you guys are launching.
Yeah, I'm actually used to be a professional musician. So, that gives me some credibility here when I talk to people. And we just the Lord sort of put that on our hearts that it's a huge, because they wouldn't go to a church and the church doesn't go to them. So I started reaching out. I probably have, 200, maybe 250 musician friends on Facebook. And I go to their shows and, we talk and stuff like that. And I play in 3 different bands. So we were trying to do, outreach that way. On the other hand, we're not neglecting our neighbors, and just other people, along the way. So we want everybody. We're not,
Yeah. And so, like, Argentina has been having some economic difficulties over the last several years. How has COVID-19? I know you guys have been on lockdown, essentially quarantine for 6 weeks now. How is this affecting the country as a whole, and specifically Mendoza?
Well, it's probably like you guys. As far as small businesses and self-employed people, they took a huge hit. A lot of companies might not open again. But like you said, actually Argentina was sort of in free fall economy like for the past several years, and the huge foreign debt, huge inflation, like it was like, 50-60% inflation, and things were like really bad already, and this COVID thing hit, and now like nobody knows if the country will recover, like if it's going to get into Venezuela or what's going to happen, because there's really, economically speaking, unless God does some kind of miracle, there's no way out of this thing.
Yeah. And Karina, you lived there, like you grew up there. That's where you're from and everything. What is the atmosphere like? If you guys had said something about like there's just a lot of worry and anxiety, which is sort of in. But is it going beyond just a typical? I don't know what's going to happen. Is it sort of getting to a place of desperation?
Yeah. Right now, I think so, because it used to be bad, and that they have a series of governments that one worse than the other, one trying to fix something for half of the country, and the other way around when the next one comes. So it's complicated, and people are pretty disillusioned in a regular sense. But now with these, there's a lot of they're really anxious about what's going to happen, how they're going to make it. A lot of fear, all the uncertainty, the conspiracy theories. People are just, what's happening? Is the end of the world? So we have a little hope that maybe the shaking is going to bring people to a place of reality with God. We hope, we want to see that. But yeah, it is an intensity of anxiety and fear and worry that we have not seen before.
And it's creating a new section of the population that is falling into poverty. That there's always poverty, but it feels like because a lot of gig economies, a lot of sort of self-employment, it feels like is that a fair assessment, that it's creating a sort of a bigger pocket of impoverished people at this time?
Yeah, well, officially they say that the poverty rate was about 33%, which means that 1 out of every 3 people doesn't have enough to eat. Basically, that's, and now they're saying it's like at 45. So it's pretty soon
Wow.
almost the country will be like, basically they have like these government-run soup kitchens where the whole family goes and lines up, for hours to get a plate full of food for the day because no one's making any money.
Yeah, and as you look at this, Karina, you've always what I found fascinating when I was with you guys is there was always somebody in your kitchen. There was always somebody you were feeding. You guys have always you lived that way with an open home, and you've been generous and for people. Have you seen an increase in the people that are sort of showing up like hungry? Is that becoming a bigger part of your ministry?
Well, we have like a mini pantry, if you will. Obviously, people technically cannot come into each other's houses it's been for 60 days or whatever. We have a steady stream of people that knock on our door asking for food, and to that extent, we have some regulars. I reckon that I give them once a week, and it's just we have to have a system. But yeah, I have, say, 5 or 6 families that are normally coming, and then those will be regulars, and then people that come asking for clothing, and do you have something to give or whatever. So yeah.
Because the thing is, they're not supposed to be out. I imagine if there wasn't a restriction, there'd probably be a lot more. But these are the brave people who sneak around trying to avoid the police. Here, like it's almost really like a where you get fined. It's a lot of money. In the third offense, you go to jail. It's because they actually made a law to enforce it. So you're breaking the law. You go out.
Yeah, it's a much stricter quarantine than what we in the United States are facing, at least in Houston right now. So like you're moving online like everybody is. You're doing Zoom meetings. You're doing your Sunday stuff online. How have you guys navigated the connection with people? Because Argentina connection is important, and there's everybody greets each other with a kiss, which is in Latin America that's common, but you can't do that now, and people are disconnected. You can't get close. You can't get like up in people's personal space. How are you guys navigating maintaining connection with people that have been consistently coming, but those people that have been on the fringes? How has that been for you guys?
Well, we try to keep up by WhatsApp, which is what they use here for texting. I'm familiar with it. And I text people every day, like 3 or 4. Try to keep, a rotation of people saying, "Hey, how are you doing?" Just to let them know that we're here. We're here for them. And the ones that actually were going to our church, we are more, intentional with making sure we talk to them, 3 or 4 times a week. We have our Sunday service. We have a Wednesday devotion that we do. We have a Zoom meeting on Wednesdays. So we're trying everything we can to just keep them, let them know that they're being pastored in some way.
And Karina, as you look at the future and you say, okay, once we're able to get out of our homes and sort of gather together, what do you think would be the changes to the ministry for you guys? Do you as you look forward, because things won't be the same. We know that much. We don't know what the new normal will look like. But Karina, what are you seeing when you look forward? What are the things you think this is going to be different?
We hope there was like an indifference. Especially the culture in Mendoza, they're very reserved. They don't talk to each other. They don't make eye contact. And I see now when we walk with strangers, when we walk down the street, before nobody will even look at you now because they're so isolated. Now they look I can see that they say hi. So there's an opening, a more greater opening that is going into culture for them. And then we're praying that this desperation will bring people to a place of more God. Argentina historically had a huge revival in the mid-'80s that followed that horrendous disaster of the Falkland War, Falkland Islands. It was something that humiliated the country. And so out of that, God brought a huge revival. I'm hoping that maybe this is something where people are falling to their knees saying, wow, I thought I had it all figured out, and not really, because we don't even know what's going to happen next. So I hope that anxiety and fear will bring them to God and more opening. I have a feeling, and the other thing I wanted to say in reaching out through electronic means, that widens the circle. A lot more people are listening to our services, and we are sending text messages to people. That gives you an excuse to check on people that normally don't come, but they feel that somehow we're just connecting with them. So that's a good thing. That, I'm not gonna go knock on their doors in any circumstances, but I can send them a text and we can pray, guys. So.
Yeah, Mark, when we were talking right before we started recording, I love what you said. Is like, this is a situation where the government can't save anybody. There's nothing natural that will save people, so they have to look at the supernatural. Like, God becomes not only an attractive second option, it becomes the only option for hope, because it's going to need. There's going to be miracles that are needed on a daily basis just for to get through it. I loved that. When you look for Mark, what is the thing that sparks hope in you? What is the thing that you look and say, man, this is where I'm pointed towards?
Wow, that's tough. I think we're just for people, like I told you before, I have like about 250 or something musicians that I've stayed in contact with, and I'm just hoping to be able to go out and talk to them, and say, okay, this is what happened. Now, how's your life? What's your future? What do you see happening a year from now? And that'll be a huge new opening for them to be able to talk about the Lord, and because before it was like their life was okay, and they didn't really see a need for any changes. Plus, there were a lot of them, into drugs, into wild living, and they were happy with that. But now they've been stuck inside their house, no drugs, no nothing, and so okay, it's a new opportunity.
It's for sobriety, yeah.
Right.
So what are the things we could, as the Houston Vineyard, what are the things we could partner with you guys in prayer for? What are the sort of the big prayers that you're asking God for?
Well, the big one that we're asking for every day is, that the Lord will use this opportunity to just touch people with His Spirit and draw them, because, the Lord has to draw people to Himself, so that He will, begin that work. But another thing is that we had started an English-speaking service. In other words, our normal service is in Spanish because we're in Argentina. But in Mendoza, there's a big tourism industry, a lot of expats, like people from Europe and the United States that live here. And so we had started a service for them. We had about 7 people, and then the quarantine hit 2 weeks into it. So we're staying in touch with them, through online means, But that's a huge, it's a new beginning for us. And we just love the Lord to show us how to handle that. And the other big need that we really would like is building, because it's sort of an awkward thing here in Mendoza. Culturally, people just don't go to your house. They feel like they want a more neutral place for a church. So we're praying that the Lord give us, we don't have any money, so that some rich businessman or somebody will just donate the money to buy some place.
Or
We
like,
can make,
and there are so many, there's a lot of empty properties here. So it could just be that God will open the door and give us favor when somebody will let them. So however God chooses to do it, I would love to start, like we do we have a cabinet full of stuff to give away, but I would love to have a space to collect clothing and food, because people come for that.
we need a warehouse.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
we don't know how. We trust that God called us here with some ideas in his mind, and we don't know how it's gonna play out, but we just trusting that somehow he will make it happen.
Yeah, and then if somebody says like, man, I really want to be involved in supporting you guys, because you guys, even though you're church planners in Argentina, you still raise funds to be able to do the work that you're doing there. If somebody wanted to connect with you guys, whether it's to encourage you or to begin to support you, how would they do that?
Well, right now, the best way is PayPal. We actually don't have a church account for PayPal yet, but they can get in touch with you, Josh, and I can give you the information.
Okay.
Because
That's great.
That works for now.
And then, listen, guys, like what I love about you, as I spent time with you, is that you are committed for the long haul. It's all over what you've done. You've sold everything. You've invested. You've sort of invested everything you have into being there for the long haul. And you guys have gone down at one of the most volatile times in the history of Argentina economically, and especially now with COVID taking over, sort of running rampant around the world. And so I am more than convinced that God has called you there, that you're the right people for the job, and that the dreams that you have to see the city transformed by his love and his power are closer than you think they are, and that the seeds that you've been planting in the last several years, you'll begin to see harvest from. And so we're really thankful that we get to be partnered in Argentina. I'm really thankful that you guys are there, and excited to see what God's going to do, because I really believe that what's coming at the back end of this COVID thing is a harvest like the church hasn't seen in a long, long time.
Amen.
And I think you guys are really well positioned for that.
Yeah.
So hey, thank you guys. Bless you guys.
Yes, and we're excited to have you guys with us too. I mean, we're so far away, but it feels good to know that there's people out there who care, who pray for us, and you're all welcome to come down anytime, by the way. We have a large house, so we don't turn anybody away.
And hopefully, listen, like I don't want to, there's a great bakery a couple blocks away. I hope it makes it through COVID-19, because there was some really good stuff there.
They do,
but we'll see.
So
Yeah, the way they did to survive was to do takeout.
Yeah.
So
listen, I'll take a trip down there just for the bakery. But hey, you guys are awesome. Thank you for doing this, and God bless you.
Thank you. Thanks for calling.
Thank you so much.
Bye.
No problem.